So going back and playing games like Blur again, I'm just going to come right out and say it right in the beginning of this video. They honestly don't make games like this anymore, man. And this is something I talked about with the Crew 1, which is kind of in the same era of Blur, like it's going to be the 2010s era of games, which I'm going to say something. Y'all think gaming peaked back then? Let me know your thoughts on that, seriously, because now I'm looking at some of the newer games and I'm like, oh... yeah, a lot of things aren't looking too hot right now for many of the games out. And when I go back and play games like Blur, I'm like, something really does seem off with a lot of these games nowadays. When I go back and play the older games, I don't know if I'm losing my mind. Maybe it's nostalgia. Who knows? I've been going back playing the PS2 more and stuff, and I've been having a really great time playing the older games again. I again don't know if it's nostalgia, but no, I'm legit having a really fun time playing these games. Blur is such a blast, dude. This game is going to be different than basically any of the other racing games we have ever seen. The only other game I know of that's going to be similar to this is Split Second, which stay tuned for videos of that game in the future. By the way, I am still searching for a copy of it, but I am gonna find myself one eventually. Now, a few things I did want to say with Blur, though, guys. Like, I don't know what it is, but just the quirkiness of older games. Like, I don't know what they were doing back then with, like, the graphics, the way they felt, the way these games really kind of just flowed. I don't know if it was, like, the passion they had in the games back then compared to, like, a lot of the games nowadays just focusing on money. Honestly, I have no clue what it really is, but some of it does kind of feel that way, because when you go back in, okay, here's an example. Right now, jump on something like Motorfest, play the new Forza, play the most recent Need for Speed game as well. Go play older Need for Speed games and play the recent one, and yeah, you'd probably see it there. But play some of those games, go back in and play something like Blur. You guys are going to see a completely different stance on the game itself. Now, this game did end up coming out in 2010, so right then was around Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2010. That Need for Speed was also fantastic. Fight me in the comments if you want on that one. But you are going to have different era of racing games and also gaming in general, and I feel like back then, they really did seem to care a tad more about them. You know what's funny though is I have been seeing a lot of people discuss this on Discord and stuff like that, going over like how older racing games, whether it's like Burnout or the old Need for Speed games, just hit different. Maybe with Most Wanted '05, the overall nostalgic bait just really hit you really bad and stuff like that. But to be honest, guys, I don't know if that's completely true. Like, I do feel like these games had a special feeling to them. They were very fun to play, and that was something I really noticed about Blur. And it made me go, you know what? They really don't make racing games like this anymore. I mean, you don't have to make a new one, okay? Just bring Blur over to PS5. I think that would honestly be enough. You don't have to make another one of these games, dude. Just bring one over, see what people think about it. I bet you a lot of players would jump on this game if they put it back on PS5. I mean, where are you going to find a racing game that's going to be a fun arcadey handling mix? And this is something I did want to say again, by the way. A lot of people were asking and stuff about the handling of this game. I did see people online talking about it, guys. I'm going to come out and say it. The handling in Blur is honestly really good for what it is. It is going to be a fun mix. It's not going to feel like kind of an annoying handling model. I actually feel like they did a really good job with it considering what this game is. It's not going to be a normal Need for Speed or like an open world racing game. No, you're going to have power-ups. There's different things like taking out other racers and stuff like that with like the things you shoot at them. You're also going to have checkpoint runs, so there is going to be a racing aspect to it. Then you're also going to have the races themselves with all the weapons everywhere that you have to avoid, and also like the shockwaves. You have a shield, you can do other things like that. So yeah, this game is going to be different. But I also feel like with that, it is going to be a really fun mix of the handling with how the game is designed. And I love the fact that it really is, to me, going to feel like you're going to put Need for Speed in one game, and somebody came out of nowhere and went, yo, you know what we should do? We should put in some Mario in this game, bro. Let's just mix it up. Let's put power-ups in a racing game. I guarantee at first, like, I don't know about that, which apparently I heard back then that Blur did not do that well. Let me know what you guys think about that, and let me know if that's also true. But apparently a lot of people were saying this game was underrated and stuff like that. Many people never even played it. A lot of players probably haven't even heard of this game either, which kind of adds on to the validity of that. It is kind of insane that some racing games just get swept under the rug and stuff like that because they are different. But now what's kind of hilarious though is a lot of players are looking for, you guessed it, something different, because so many games are the same now, and we honestly kind of went backwards, bro. Like, a lot of people want something different now, as a lot of the newer games are going to be way too similar to each other. They all kind of copied it. Now we're going to have unique games like this back then that to me went, yo, they weren't copying nobody, bro. They legit took some ideas and went, let's put this in a game and see what we can do, and here it is. it really is funny to me, like, how a lot of the new games are basically like, okay, what are they doing that's cool? Let's go make another festival racer. Let's go make something like that, even though we're going to have other games that are focusing on the same thing. Let's go do the same thing as them because it's working for them or they're successful. Let's go try that instead of trying to be different, or, maybe following their passion of what could be different in a racing game like Blur, for example, where you're going to have weapons and stuff like that, different things, licensed vehicles in this game as well, like the Viper and stuff like that. You're going to have real cars in the game, but you're also going to throw different twists in there, like a handling model of the cars being drifty, off-road, grippy, very grippy. You're also going to have balance. You're then going to have different races and stuff like that where vehicles are going to work better. You're also then going to have weapons on top of that, which is going to make the racing even more intense. And the funny part is, Blur also, as I did mention in that one video, bro, this game gets pretty hard once you get farther into it, dude. So I feel like people are probably struggling this game a bit. I'm going to come out and say something real quick that I am going to touch on in a future video, probably when I start doing more of the older games and stuff like that, because I do feel like older games are a bit harder than I guess you could say they are now. I don't know if that sounds dumb. That's something I have been noticing. Like, I feel like people are struggling on the newer games a bit, and if they were to go back and play some of these, dude, I really don't know how that would go, but I would probably say they'd have fun for a little bit, and then once the entire, like, difficulty ramps up, they're going to be like, what's going on, dude? Speaking of all of that, though, I am also wondering if maybe in the future we might end up seeing a change with some of this stuff. Like, maybe games are going to take a different direction. As right now, a lot of people can agree, a lot of the games and in general, like the direction that the gaming industry is taking, is honestly in a very odd spot right now. But to be real, guys, it's kind of happening to itself. And a lot of the companies are honestly just doing this to themselves, right? I mean, look how the games are. I'm not going to dive too much into this. I can talk about this in a separate video. Do let me know if you guys want me to do that, because I could talk and rant about this for a minute with how the gaming industry is. But if you really want to take a look at that, though, it is honestly very easy. Simply jump onto some older games like Blur and some of these games. You guys are definitely going to see differences in whether the devs were more passionate. Some of the things that went into these games really making it different, guys. Like, let's be real. They are not going to make anything like Blur again. Now, I do understand a game like this is probably going to be kind of niche. Not everybody is going to want to play this. But the funny part is I have been noticing people saying it. They said, like, getting this game later on, playing this game recently has been so dang fun. It's also very different. I would say a lot of people might be similar to me, maybe playing Motorfest and getting bored of that game, and even getting bored of Forza and stuff. You might want something different, guys. Blur is definitely going to do that. And on top of it, it's also going to show you so many different things about how these games were back then compared to what we really have now. To be honest, one thing I really do want to see is just a lot of games just stop copying each other, dude. I really wish that would stop happening. I kind of wish they take their own approach, really try to be unique again instead of going, okay, well, a lot of people like this in this game, so let's do the exact same thing as them. Like, no, bro. Do something unique, really do something that's different, and I bet you'd probably bring a lot more people in because you're not going to be copying everybody else. This is something I noticed so much back then, especially playing Blur. Like, these games back then, they were all different. Look at Hot Pursuit, bro. Look at Blur. Even look at something like the first Forza game back then, okay? Look at something like Most Wanted 2012. Every game kind of had, like, their own identity in a way, or they were different. Whether that's going to be good or bad, that's going to be subjective there. But the games are still going to be unique in their own way, and you can definitely tell them apart and tell that the devs are like, yo, let's do something different. Let's make a racing game with a good handling model, but let's throw in some weapons like you see in Mario Kart, and boom, you're going to have a weird game like Blur. You have something like Split Second. These games were so much different, and another one that could go into that, man, easy, Burnout. Another game that's so much different. I would love to see another one of those. But honestly, guys, I could keep ranting. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I am going to talk about some of this stuff in future videos. Do stay tuned. But do let me know what y'all think about Blur. You're probably going to agree that they do not make games like this anymore. It's kind of insane. And I really do wish they would, because I feel like releasing something different like Blur would not only mix up the entire racing game genre, but you know what it would do? It would show that different games are also being produced.